Trans people in Scotland say they're being discriminated against because the government has failed to give them equal gender recognition. Parliament is currently in the process of amending the 2004 Gender Recognition Act to make it easier for trans people to legally change their gender. However, these new amendments do not include people who do not identify as a man or a woman but as non-binary. Valeria told me about their experience being non-binary in Scotland.
I wake up in the morning and it's not like, oh, I feel feminine today or I feel masculine. I'm in the middle. And people say like, oh, but do you feel more masculine or feminine? I don't feel either or. I'm just in the middle, doing my thing. This is 3 years worth of the notes from my hospital that I got so I could take to a private surgeon. I'm just reading some of it. This is from April this year. Someone said, Bella clearly identified with the correct concept of gender dysphoria rather than body dysmorphia and reported discussing this at a psychiatric appointment in January 2019. Bella considered having a transgender identity and has friends who are transgender, however, was clear about not wishing to transition. Bella identified as non-binary and believes that they do not identify with the breast and wishes to pursue surgical intervention. I have discussed that as Bella is pursuing a referral to the gender clinic. This is hopefully something that can be explored psychologically in greater depth. And that means, yeah, so that was this year, which is 2 or 3 years after I was told by a psychiatrist that I had body dysmorphia, not gender dysphoria. And then this psychiatrist has said, oh, actually you've got gender dysphoria, not body dysmorphia. So I'm like, who am I to believe? Like, I can only believe myself. And these people are just saying, ah, you have this, you have this. I'm like, I know what I have, I know what I want. Please, chap them off. Get rid of them. Don't want them. It's like if you've got a headache, you can take a painkiller. It'll take the pain away from the headache. But with this, like, there's no medicine that you can do that'll just stop the way you're feeling. It's like all internal. So that's a bit annoying. It's not good. Yeah, dysphoria sucks.
Vic Valentine identifies as non-binary and works for the Scottish Trans Alliance, who carry out research and campaign on behalf of the transgender community.
The impression I've tended to get from people is that people really don't get what non-binary is or who non-binary people are, and I think that that's the reason that we've ended up in the position where the government doesn't think it's going to include us when it reforms the Gender Recognition Act this time. So I think that one thing that's really important is for non-binary people, when they're able to be visible and vocal about who they are, and particularly to go and meet with and talk to their members of the Scottish Parliament, because I think that lots of people think that something about being non-binary is really kind of complicated or abstract or kind of just like a confusing idea that you only get at university, when actually we're just people like everybody else. We're just not ones who feel like the word man or woman does a very good job of describing who we are.
So why is it important for people who are non-binary to have legal gender recognition?
So I think that it's really important because, particularly in a society that pretty much hasn't recognised non-binary people at all, it would be like a really big symbolic show from the government that they think that our lives and our identities are as valid and as real as those of men and women. And also the benefits of changing the sex that's recorded on your birth certificate is that you get lots more privacy about your trans history and about your gender history. And so although, say, a non-binary person would have a X on their birth certificate, although that would mean someone would always know you were non-binary, they wouldn't necessarily know what sex you were born. And I think that for lots of non-binary people that would be something that would feel really helpful and really important for them. It would just mean that when they were doing things like starting a new job or getting married, they wouldn't have to kind of out themselves and their history to other people.
MSP Shirley Ann Somerville said, "We recognise the need to address the issues that non-binary people face. I intend to establish a working group to consider possible changes to procedures." Up north in Aberdeen, campaigners are not willing to back down until there's equal gender recognition for all genders.
Here today in response to the Gender Recognition Act and the fact that people with non-binary identities can't actually get the legal recognition for that, which is basically saying that non-binary people aren't valid, which is completely false. So yeah, that's why I'm here to say I'm here, I'm non-binary, I'm valid, and I exist. And that, you know, trans rights are human rights and we're all valid and human and we deserve to just be treated as such.
Back down in Edinburgh, I caught up with Valia after their long day at work.
The amount of tax I pay is ridiculous. I think for the stuff the tax goes towards, stuff that I'm paying for, I should get to choose what's on my passport or my birth certificate, anything. The one thing that people in that community need is this identification of who they are, and they don't give them it, but they still say we support you, but they're not fully supporting us and what people like me need.
There has been some progress in Scotland towards inclusion of the transgender community, although it seems that there's still work to be done. Jack Sinclair reporting for RGU News.